Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the BettingPros NFL podcast. I'm your host, Dan Harris. With me is Matt Peralt. Find us on Twitter at DanHarrisAD and at Sports Talk Matt. Matt, I know how you're doing because I've been sitting here listening to you sweat a bet, but how are you doing for the listener's sake?
I'm good. I'm really good. I got my vaccine shot, so I'm good there.
Number one or number two?
Number one.
Okay, very good.
3 weeks to get number two. I'm excited to get to these games. Only 3 games left in the entire NFL season, so that's kind of a bummer.
I can't believe they made it, Matt.
I know, right?
Do you ever sit there and think that it's absolutely unreal that they made it through the season? Not only because coming into it, I was very nervous that they were going to be able to just get it rolling normally. And then you had early on, right? You had the postponements with some of the games and the extra bye weeks. And then things just looked like it wasn't. And they just kept going and they made it work. It's incredible that they pulled this off, I think.
Yeah, it's really impressive. And look, we're not done with football because we're starting to see the schedules come out for the FCS. So we're still going to have that. The books in Vegas are going to have to book those games. I mean, people are going to require it. So we'll still have football in the spring. There's no XFL or AAF this time around, but there'll be, Missouri Valley and there'll be, North Dakota State games and other things to watch and bet on. So we'll have some spring football, but nothing like, high level football or the NFL. But yeah, it's incredible. And they all should be commended for the sacrifices that they voluntarily made to go through it, all the protocols and the testing. And look, I've taken, 8 or 9 tests, 7 or 8 tests in my life for COVID. I couldn't imagine being tested 7 times a week.
Yeah.
That's a lot, and that's really annoying. And I mean, that's got to be frustrating. It's got to be frustrating about not being able to go out and do what you want to do on the road. So yeah, it is remarkable that we've made it all the way to where we have fans in the stands for these 2 games coming up Sunday.
And it's really funny because you used to think about when you have 6,000, 7,000 fans that it would be just like, oh God, that stadium's dead. And especially in Buffalo, you were listening to it, you were like, oh my goodness.
I've been making that case on my show for the last week and a half, saying normally when we're watching games where a stadium of 60,000 has 7,000, it's apathy.
Yeah.
But these are the diehards of the diehards. I mean, these are the Uber fan that are going to these games who have been, ticket holders for 30 years,
right,
who have been dreaming about a Buffalo Bills team or a Chiefs, dynasty or whatever. There's just so many people, and there'll be Bills fans there. They had to offer tickets to the Bills that are fans. So there'll be some Bills fans in Arrowhead for this game in Kansas City. So, I think it's a really big, actually a pretty big factor here that there's actually going to be a home field environment for the first time.
Well, it's 2 really good games, so we're going to get into it. So a couple of things. We will have one more of these before the Super Bowl. We'll do our usual Super Bowl show, but we are going to be doing additional things during the Super Bowl. Matt and I are going to be doing a live stream on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/bettingpros. We'll provide more details, but we're going to do a lot of giveaways and stuff like that. So you're going to want to tune in. It'll be about an hour long with the 2 of us. We'll give you all the details and stuff like that before the show. But we'll have that, again, ton of giveaways talking about player props, talking about everything we can with the game. There'll also be a ton of stuff in our Discord channel where you can go to bettingpros.com/chat. You should join. It's always popping. It's a good time, and especially on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah,
it's going to be nuts. I really in there. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be hanging out.
Are we giving away T-shirts?
Oh yeah, we're going to be giving away. If you don't, again, that's Daily Juice. I assume, and maybe I take for granted that everybody listens to your Daily Juice podcast because it is the best podcast, of course.
Oh,
but we have, look, just because I invented it, I get to say it. But we have tons of swag right now. Matt, you're wearing one right now, aren't you?
I'm sporting a Daily Juice, very comfortable, very nice and affordable T-shirt that's available on fantasypros.com/shop.
Nice.
Right now.
Yes, that's correct.
Now.
Right now, we also have hoodies, and we're going to get hats.
Yeah,
again,
hoodies already flying off the shelves, man. I got 7 guys telling me that they've bought hoodies already.
I know. That's why. And really, it's the reaction in our Discord channel where everybody was like, I want those. And we were like, okay, great. We'll get it up right away. So we did. So it's great and everything like that. Separately, I will note, Matt, you mentioned this on Daily Juice, but BetMGM is launching in Michigan tomorrow or today, probably by the time you listen to this, since Matt and
Friday,
yep. A little bit late on Friday. You can get a 100% deposit match on a deposit up to $500 when you use the code JUICE100. That is the code that we use for Matt's Daily Juice. We're using it here as well. JUICE100 in Michigan, 100% match on your first deposit up to $500. All right, so let's
briefly talk about... Do you know how angry that makes me, by the way?
Why?
Do you have any idea how mad that makes me?
Why?
Because we have nothing like that in Vegas.
Yeah.
Zip. Zero. You're lucky if you get $50
Yeah.
in Vegas.
Yeah.
When you sign up, it's like, great, give me your money. There's no
Yeah.
thank you. Hey, deposit $500. I'm going to match you $500. It's
Yeah.
$500 in free bets. I
It's
mean,
true.
it's essentially a $500 free roll you get.
It
It's
is.
incredible. I mean, it's
It is.
absolutely incredible.
It's awesome. And I had one before the juice, but when DraftKings came to New Hampshire, we also had a code, for the show. I used it. You had it in DraftKings, and yeah, it's a free $500 bet. You can get aggressive, you can have fun, and I still remember sort of like breaking it down. I have a good story. I'll tell it another time about how I used it, but yeah, it's
just
good.
make sure you use it on plus money, folks. Just make sure. That's the only advice I give you. Bet with however you want. Make sure you use it on plus money.
Yeah, and I'm sure we all
don't take a minus
bad.
110 or minus 140. Don't bet on Conor McGregor with it.
And I'm sure we all feel really bad for you for, you miss out on all that, but you do live in Vegas, Matt. So you do get, some perks over there. All right. So let's talk about last week very quickly. What we did last week, what we've been doing, and we can do whatever we want on this one, but we were doing one against the spread pick, one over under pick, and then one 2-team teaser that we both kind of like to do. I had the Bucs getting 3.5. Matt and I were on the different sides of that game as we talked about, but we both bought the half a point to get off 3. So I had the Bucs getting 3.5 and a single game teaser with the Bucs +9 and the over 45.5. But I also had the under 45.5 on the Rams and Packers game, which I really liked, but, didn't hit, of course. Matt, you had the Browns and the Chiefs under 57, so that was right. You missed on the Saints, of course, laying 2.5. And your teaser was the Rams getting 12.5 and the Ravens getting 8.5. So neither of those legs hit. Actually, I know the Ravens, really. I mean,
my other teaser was better. My other teaser hit. My other teaser hit. I went 1 for 2 on teasers, but that teaser was disgusting.
Yeah, you want to hear more of Matt's picks, listen to Daily Juice. All right, let's get into it here, though. Let's start with the Bucs at the Packers, and I will use the latest odds that we have over at bettingpros.com. And again, BettingPros, that'll give you the odds at the various sports books that they have available. The Packers are laying 3, and there are a couple of 3.5s out there, including my book, DraftKings, is 3.5 right now. But the consensus line is 3 because that's the majority of it. The over-under is 51.5. And I'll give you the money line odds as well in case you think there's any value there. The Bucs are +150 and the Packers right now are -175. All right, so let's talk about this game, Matt. General feeling, what do you think?
So I've been making this joke. I finished the regular season up, I think it was like 9 units. I've given more than half of it back in the playoffs. And it's been just awful. So I am really gun shy when it comes to these two football games. And if I had gun to my head, I'll take 3. I'll take the Packers. They're at home. I think this offense is very good. I don't think that Tampa defense is very good. I think the turnovers came from Drew Brees and Jared Cook just not paying attention. So that was a monster. It was 20-20 when that fumble happened with Jared Cook. And then the 2 interceptions happened. It was really rough. They scored 21 points off the 3 turnovers, really 4 in totality for the New Orleans Saints in that football game. That was the difference in that game. It was still only a 10-point margin. So without the turnovers, Saints probably win that game. So I look at the Packers at home. I know it's not going to be frigid, but it's still a Tampa Bay team in Green Bay, Wisconsin. There's still a significant issue there with the weather and just being cold. And not so much Tom Brady. Everyone's saying, oh, Brady's fine in the cold. I understand that point, but the problem with it is Brady played at home in New England where they played the entire season. They were used to it. They lived there. You can't practice in the cold in Tampa. So you're going to go up there, have to get situated in 24 hours to go play football. And I don't think it's Brady. I think it's the receivers having a tough time hanging on to a hard football and then fumbling the football, a slick, hard, cold football. So to me, I think these turnovers are going to flip-flop. I think Tampa turns the football over, and I think the Packers win the game and cover.
Okay, so let's talk about something that I'm sure a lot of our listeners are thinking about right now. Matt, these teams met back in week 6, I believe, and the Bucs trounced them 38-10. That was Rodgers' worst game of the season. You throwing that entirely out at this point when you're thinking about
Didn't everyone throw out the 2 wins for the Saints over the Bucs last week?
No, I'm not telling you it's wrong.
I'm saying, isn't that what everyone said? Said, oh, you can't beat a team 3 times. It's really hard. Well,
but that's a different situation, right? That's a third time. That's the third time 2 teams that, generally, I know Brady wasn't there, but they know each other pretty well. Of course, they play twice every year. This was like a dominant performance here but you had a dominant performance by the Saints, of course, at some point, but the only game that Rodgers has really looked terrible. But I'm just saying, you're throwing it out. Doesn't matter at all to you.
Doesn't matter at all. Means nothing to me. It was another year. It was another lifetime ago.
I'm in agreement with you. I want to make that clear. So to the extent anybody took that as me being like, Matt, what are you doing? I'm in agreement with you that I do not care about that game. Now, I went back and I watched that game, okay? Like recently, because I wanted to see what it was going to look like. That game was bizarre. So, not bizarre, I guess, but it was just much more of like surprising how little the Packers adapted to it, the offensively, right? Because Rodgers is playing at such a high level. The offense is playing at such a high level. And, Rodgers likes to take the clock down, right, to the end of, to 2 seconds left, and then snap the ball. And it was just sort of like Rodgers. I felt like the Bucs kept disguising what they were doing, and Rodgers never took any steps to try to figure it out. Like he was just like, I'm just going to wait the whole time like we usually do. No trying to get them to jump. No trying to see what they were in. It's not going to be the same right now. Rodgers is playing too well. And again, I agree with you. I think the weather is a factor here. I think you summed it up very, very well. It's not Brady. Okay. We're not criticizing and saying Brady can't play in the Colts. Of course, he's played in New England his entire career, but I do think that it's different for the rest of the team. Like they're just not really going to be used to that. But I lean towards the Packers. I don't love it, Matt. For me, again, I'm at DraftKings, so it's at 3.5. I don't love it at 3.5. I just don't. The hook really bothers me.
Oh yeah. You need the 3. I mean, the 3 is. I wouldn't play it because there's so many. Every book in Vegas is at 3. I mean, like there's nobody at 3.5 in Vegas. So just to give you an idea that, essentially, what this line is. Okay, it's kind of basic, but this is what happens. Tampa, if you're at 3.5, you're getting Buck money.
Mm-hmm.
If you're at 2.5, you're getting Packer money.
Yep.
That's basically wherever you're setting the number. So DraftKings needs, for whatever reason, DraftKings needs Tampa Bay money.
Yeah.
That's why they're at 3.5 because they must have gotten a couple of monster bets on the Packers.
Right.
So they're trying to get other money. They're trying to get money on the Bucs at plus 3.5 to kind of balance that out or to try to limit the liability they've got on the game.
Yeah. Realistically, you expect this to be a close game? You expect roughly a 3-point game or something close to it?
See, this is my question because of the teaser I want to play that everybody in their lives are going to play. Every bettor is going to have this ticket. +9. Everyone.
Yeah.
I'm nervous about a Packer blowout.
Yep.
I'm really nervous about the Packers killing the teaser because the Packers go ahead and win. And a part of me wants to tease through 0, and part of me wants to take Packers +3.
Matt, you screamed at me when I teased through 0 one time.
Because there is no real difference. There's no real difference between +3 and +3. So I think the Packers could win big. It's the second leg that I need it on. I need the points not on this leg. I need the points on the Bills and Chiefs leg.
Yep.
So that's one reason why I could see myself violating that rule and teasing through 0. But I hate, and don't like doing that. So, as I said, I'm all over the place here. The teaser I'm going to play is actually on the total in this game, not a side.
Me too.
Okay, good.
So I have that. My 2-team teaser is going to take. Spoiler alert, but my 2-team teaser is going to be taking the Bills up to 9.
Yep.
And I'm going to be teasing the total down on this one and taking the over.
Is that
what you're doing?
Yeah, exact same bet. Yep,
exactly. That's what I'm doing. Exact same bet.
That's my 2-team teaser. Yep.
Yes, that's mine as well. I've already bet it. And I think that.
Oh, why didn't you wait
until what?
Until you get 4 or 5.
Until
you're going to get the second that Patrick Mahomes is cleared to play, that number's not saying at 3.5.
Okay, so
or 3.
First,
no way.
I've got it at 3. All right. So that might be, first of all, number 1. I'll bet it again if so. And again, if it goes to 3.5, doesn't matter to me obviously because you have to get to
10.
Right. With the teaser, it doesn't matter. But
oh no, it matters. It really 4 matters on a 6-point teaser. Getting to 10 matters big time.
I'm saying the difference between 3 and 3.5 for me, right? Because on a teaser, if you tie the second leg, you lose, right?
No, it just every book is different. Some book it's a push. Some book have the whole bet's a push. Some books will give you the odds on the first leg. But most books is just a straight push. If if only one leg of the 2-leg teaser pushes,
Okay.
the whole bet's a push.
Okay, so the book then I actually haven't had it come up yet with DraftKings.
Okay.
The book that I used to
think
play
it's a
at,
push.
Okay.
You get to 10, the whole book. If it falls on 10, the whole bet will be a push.
Fair enough. On the book, that's actually my bad because I think I've just been assuming because the book that I used to play at when I used to live in a place where I could was if you pushed a leg, you lost. So that's kind of what I've been assuming. But regardless, so we'll get to that game. We'll push that game away, Matt, when we get there about what we think the spread is going to do because I don't. You may be absolutely right, and put it out there. You live in Vegas. You are well connected. I'm sure you have a better idea of what's going to happen here. I have always been assuming that this is priced, the Bills-Chiefs game, as if Mahomes is going to play.
And they're assuming that. But the public hasn't gotten involved yet.
You think that when Patrick Mahomes, all right, we'll get there. Let's put that aside. Let's keep up with this game right now. I agree with you in that I think there is an absolute risk here that the Packers destroy the Bucs. I really do because you called it, Matt. Like last week's game was not overly impressive by the Bucs. It really wasn't. They could have easily lost that game had those certain things happened at the end of the game. And Drew Brees, basically, he really did look like Peyton Manning in the last year of his career at this point. And they still were in that game. And of course, they didn't have MVP Deontay Harris, who looked like he was going to be a game changer for the first couple of
until he got
hurt
in the first quarter and changed the game.
Yeah, I was, it
was brutal. I mean, he was electric, and then everything switched when he got hurt. I was like, oh no.
So, but they did not look overly impressive or against Washington. Now they are strong defensively, and they may have Vita Vea back here, which only strengthens their run defense. So
yeah, I talked to somebody in Tampa about that on my show, and someone who's actually part of the Bucs broadcast, and they don't think that a 300-pound man who hasn't played football for a long time. They don't think he's in game shape, so they think even if he is in the game, he's on like a 10 to 15 snap count. Like, okay, maybe he makes some plays, but they weren't. I thought the same thing. I was like, oh man, maybe Vita Vea coming back could be a monster in the middle. He could chew up a bunch of black blockers, and they were like, yeah, no, I wouldn't expect him to be a big part of the game plan by any means. He may play, he may be out there, but like, don't expect him to be a 25-30 snap type defensive player.
Right. Well, regardless, of course, even when they lost them, the Bucs are still one of the best teams at stopping the run. So I think they'll be able to do that. But again, against the pass, it's not like Carlton Davis is gonna take away Devontae Adams. And either way, Rodgers is just playing at such a high level that he will be able to sort of find the holes in the defense. And again, I'm presuming at this point that I'm not the only one who has gone back and watched that game film of that first game and been like, maybe we need to switch this up a little bit as to what we were doing because they were getting too much pressure on Rodgers. They were throwing deep too much. So I think they're going to change that. So I think they're going to be able to put up points. And the Packers defense has played better. They're getting more pressure lately. And that's sort of the key to Brady, to get pressure without blitzing. Because when you blitz, he's just going to tear you up. If you can get more pressure without blitzing, and they've been doing that a little bit more lately. We don't know whether or not Antonio Brown's going to play. I guess he's trending up, but really you attack the Packers on the ground. So you'll see probably a lot of Leonard Fournette. But I do think there's going to be a fair amount of scoring in this game. And it is something where it lends itself, I think, to in-game betting. If you're gun shy about the over at 50, what did I say? 51.5. If you're gun shy about that, wait for the game. And if one side gets up by like 10 points or more, then there's just going to be a ton of passing and the over is going to go. So that's what I would do with that. Do you like the 51.5 either way, Matt, without teasing it? We said we tease it down.
I think it's right. I think the game falls somewhere in there. I mean, I could see it falling at 50. That's where my 30 to 20 comes in. I'm like, there's the teaser killer, right?
Right.
If the Packers win by 10, that's it. And can they win by 10? Yeah. And then they don't get to the total, they don't go to the over 30 to 20. It's a 50-point total. And then so you lose on the under, or the over bet is a loss, and the teaser's a loss. So that's my like, in my brain when I start thinking about how I would bet this. That's the scenario that scares me the most.
Yeah. And again, with this, Matt, like when I look at the two teams, they're both, at this point, they match up pretty well. They're both solid defensively. They both have excellent quarterbacks. They can both move the ball through the air, decent run game and everything like that. They match up pretty well against each other to the point where when you look at it, yeah, 3-point spread feels right. But like you, I kind of have this feeling that the Packers may just come out and smash them. You know, like I have this like just nagging feeling in the back of my mind that in the cold, in Green Bay, they're just going to come out and be totally ready to avenge that loss. So,
well, I think there's also a point that I've been making on my radio show a little bit that I haven't heard enough about across the country. Is that so? Rodgers has one ring. The list of quarterbacks who have one ring, it's pretty long. The list of quarterbacks who have 2 rings, it's not that long. List of quarterbacks with 3 rings or more is really short. So, I mean, Rodgers can put himself in the Big Ben, in the Peyton Manning. I mean, he can put himself into a category. I mean, John Elway's got 3, but he can put himself into a category that you're like, this is a different, we're no longer discussing Favre versus Rodgers. And I think that extra ring, the winner of this game in my mind is going to win the championship.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I really do. I think the winner of this wins it all. And I think I've got a bet on the Packers. So, like, a part of me is like, I thought the Packers were the best team in football 3 weeks ago when I made the bet, and I just got to ride it here. So, I do have, like, my other play. I don't normally do 2-team parlays, but I think at FanDuel, you could have gotten this morning. If you took moneyline Packers, moneyline Chiefs, you get plus 151 odds on it.
Really?
Yeah. So it's not bad. It's not a bad 2-leg teaser, two-leg parlay, just straight money line. Number 1 seeds win. Number 1 seeds make their way to Tampa. I mean, I think it's a decent way of playing it. I mean, I think it's a decent way of not having to worry about the points and worry about something screwy happening with missed extra points or strange fumbles at the end or whatever. Just Chiefs win, Packers win, and you're at plus 151.
Yeah, I've got at DraftKings right now because I just pulled it up. I always like to have it up, Matt, just so I can check exactly where we are. It's at 146, so it's right around there.
Yeah,
I think basically where I've come down on this, and it is something where I think the line is fair, is absolutely right. I could see it being a close game, but I'm starting, as I've just looked into this more and more, I have this feeling like I'm more confident that the Packers are going to win, way more confident that the Packers are going to win than I am that the Chiefs win, even with Mahomes playing in that game. So let's get to that game then. I think basically where we come out as is at 3, we like the Packers, right?
Yes.
Are you going to bet that with the Packers laying 3?
Don't know yet.
Okay. No.
As I told you, I may be more exotic than just taking straight sides and totals, given how bad I've been.
Oh, and look, we are at a point right now where the lines are so sharp, because they have so much data and stuff like that. So do I love at 3 or 3.5 on either of these games? No, I don't at all. So, I don't think I would actually bet. I'll make a play on one of the sides at this point.
Right.
But at 3.5, like, I think there's value in the Bucs, but I won't bet it because I just have the feeling like the Packers are going to kind of run with this one. So I don't love the total either. I think the total is right on like you at 51.5. Moneyline parlay is very interesting. But let's get to the second game now, Matt, because, let's start with the first thing kind of that we already teed up a little bit. You think that once Mahomes is declared in, and I think at this point it's almost a certainty at this point that he's going to play.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you think when that comes in, the public is going to come in hard on the Chiefs and the line is going to move?
Yes.
How high do you think it gets?
4.5.
Really? Okay, so that's interesting to me because, and out of curiosity, is this just the Matt Peral sort of way of thinking, or have you talked to bookmakers who are expecting that?
I mean, but both. I mean, the expectation is if you have bet the Bills, you already bet them because you could have gotten 4 here in Vegas at an open. The open number in Vegas was 4. So if you wanted, I guess not the open, but it was seesawed in the first 6 hours of it being open to what finally stopped, where it opened up. One book had Chiefs minus 2.5, another book had Bills minus 1.5, and then it all kind of homogenized together once the bet started to fly in. But that was because one book was banking on Mahomes, another book was saying Mahomes is going to be out. So after it all kind of the dust settled, it was at 4, and you could find 4 all over town. So if you wanted the Bills at 4, you've already bet them. That's why the line came down to 3. So we've seen nothing but basically Bills money come in. So
Right.
the Chief money hasn't showed up yet. And
Okay.
so we're going to get Chief money when Mahomes is cleared to play and there's no questions. He's out of the protocol and there's no more questions. You will see 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. I mean, all that stuff will hit, and it'll come down hard. So, I mean,
Fascinating.
that I think is, if you like the Bills, wait.
Now, Matt, don't you think that the sharp money will come in on the Bills if it keeps going to 4?
It's going to be 50-50.
Okay.
The sharp.
Okay.
This is a really, really hard game.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
I think the second game is harder than the first game.
Oh yeah, this game is very tough. Very tough. Now it's funny because I don't feel that confident in even if Mahomes plays, because at the very least, and we're assuming Mahomes plays, at the very least, Matt, he's going to be limited by that toe. I mean, that's turf toe, we assume, right? That he has there with the toe injury that he suffered. I mean, if he's limping around, and Mahomes limping around is still probably the best quarterback in the NFL, but it does take, his mobility being limited, that does take away from him. So you think though that you feel confident that they're going to win this game?
Yeah, I mean, I am. Here's how I feel about this game. I love the under. It's my favorite play of the game.
Okay.
At 53.5.
Okay.
I like teasing the Bills up because I don't think the Chiefs beat anybody by big numbers anymore.
They don't cover ever,
Nope.
ever. So yes, 100%.
And so I like getting 4.5 to 5 and teasing it up to 10 or 11 with the Bills. That's my second favorite play. And then if I had to go ahead and bet it, I'd take money line Chiefs.
Okay. All right.
So that's kind of, I'm trying to ensure myself a little bit that if I'm really wrong, if the Bills come out and win by like 30, okay, I'm all right, because that blows up the money line parlay.
Right.
I think Patrick Mahomes' mobility is a big problem. If he can't run around and he can't move, that's a big issue. His arm's still the arm, okay? I'm not saying he can't throw the football. He can. But if he can't plant properly, or if he hurts it early in the game, if he gets sacked and he hurts the foot early in the game, forget the head.
Yep.
I mean, the foot's a bigger worry to me, to be honest with you, than any concussion issue he may be having.
No.
So the Bills' defense has been playing really well, and the Chiefs aren't scoring touchdowns right now. They're kicking a ton of field goals.
Yes.
So that's why the under is my favorite play of the game. Is if I had to bet a side on it, or I had to bet either side or total, I'm taking the total and going under 53.5.
The only part of this game I'm touching is, and again, if it moves up, I'll just bet it again for sure.
Okay.
But I'm comfortable at +9 because I don't think I will be floored if the Chiefs win this game by 9 points or more. Like, I'll be absolutely floored.
I know a lot of sharp people that like the Bills just +3.5.
I'm telling you, I feel like if I have to place a bet, I would do it. But Matt, you remember that game early in the season when we took the Chiefs against the Ravens when Mahomes was getting money, and we were just like, why would you ever bet against Patrick Mahomes? Like, it was just sort of watching it. It's almost comical what he can do if he is remotely close to 100%, and even limited. They could have put up a ton of points against Cleveland. I mean, what he can do, limping around, is better than any mortal man. But the Bills, I'm very interested to hear your take on it, because you have faded the Bills for the most part all season long. But I'm so impressed by the Bills. And, against the Ravens, I realize that, Lamar doesn't throw that pick six, and that game could have turned out very, very differently. Baltimore played a great game defensively, but it was really, really windy, like incredibly windy. I don't really blame them. The Bills, I'm just trying to break it down. The Bills get an extra day of rest here. And again, you have Mahomes, who sort of, is a little banged up. The Bills are great in the red zone. Part of it is because Josh Allen can, has the rushing threat, obviously, but, he's just playing at an exceptionally high level. Casey's not great as a red zone defense. Like, they're not that good at keeping teams out of the end zone once they get there. So the Bills are going to be able to put up points in this game, and that's especially true given the fact that everybody on the Chiefs is injured. Like, just in thinking about how this game is going to unfold, Breland is injured. I think he's going to play. He's practicing, but, maybe CEH plays. I guess Watkins plays, and we guess Mahomes plays. But again, the Chiefs defense just hasn't been quite that as good in the second half against the pass. Like, it's just not quite as good. I mean, you looked at Mayfield. He was able to move the ball pretty well. The Bills linebackers are playing really well. I don't know, man. I'm getting like a weird. I'm not going to bet against Patrick Mahomes. I'm just not, like, because it's a horrible thing to do. So even though the Bills at +3, I think is the right side at this one, I'm not going to actually place a bet on it. But I don't know, man. Especially with Mahomes, he's not going to be 100%, right? Like, that's the one thing we know.
Right.
He's just not going to be able to move around.
Well, okay, so I got a couple of things on Josh Allen. All right, so the Buffalo Bills do not run the ball.
Yes.
Like, they've simply just stopped. So Brian Dabble not being a head coach, saying he's going to stay for one more year, I think we underestimate that a little bit because now he's focused on just this team, just this quarterback. And I really wonder, look, Buffalo is a cold weather team going to Kansas City, so they're not going to be affected by any cold weather, which I think is a major benefit to them because a lot of teams who go to Kansas City are frozen when they get there.
Yeah.
And especially in January. I mean, I've been to a playoff game at Arrowhead in January, and I've sat near the top of the bleachers, and I nearly froze to death. I mean, it's just super, super cold and really, really raw. That's the thing about it. It's just it's a biting cold in Kansas City. So I don't think that the Chiefs will have a big advantage over the Bills there, nor over Josh Allen, who's a quarterback who played at Wyoming. So that's okay. The wind is a major factor. I want to find out. It looks like 11-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That's not that big of a deal, but I want to make sure that stays there, not get buffaloed again like last time with the Ravens game. And so that's important. And then I look at the red zone offense for the Bills and the red zone offense with the Chiefs. And my hope is that Kansas City will hold the Bills to a bunch of field goals because it's hard to pass in the red zone. If you can't run the ball in the red zone, it can be tough to score.
I know, but they're so good, Matt, at in the red zone for offensively. Even though they don't run the ball, they're still really good at.
But it is a championship game.
It is.
It's a different moment. It's the first time he's ever been here.
Yeah.
He wins and he goes to the Super Bowl. I mean, there's just a lot of pressure that comes to this. So I could see him gripping a little bit. I can see him miss open receivers. I mean, this is where I'm not the biggest Josh Allen fan, like everybody knows, but I think between the 20s, I think this guy right now is really, really good. So the red zone, I'm hoping for field goals from both sides. That's why I like the under in this game. But I'm very interested to see what Kansas City's pressure package is and if they're just going to blitz the holy heck out of Josh Allen and say, okay, we trust our guys one-on-one. Because if so, I think Diggs could have a monster game catching the football.
Yeah. I know.
And he could be the guy. He could be the key to the whole thing. He may have like 8 catches for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And the thing is, they're usually good against limiting. They're usually good at limiting wide receivers. They're kind of this funnel defense that funnels everything to the middle of the field. And it is worth noting now that Cole Beasley, who was banged up, is now off. Although I guess he was off the injury report, but then today he got back in a limited practice. So if he were 100%. I think he could actually have a big game because I think the middle of the field is where you might be able to kind of exploit them. If he is limited, again, it's going to affect them. Same question, by the way, I realized. Look, they played each other before, and I think this was like the Tuesday night game, maybe, or maybe it was Monday Night Football. I can't remember exactly when they played. But, that was 26-17. The Bills ran the ball a ton, in that game. I assume, like the Green Bay game, you're throwing out that game? Like you don't care about it whatsoever?
I don't care about it. No,
okay.
I don't care about it. I mean, it's been so long ago. I mean, this is a different Chief team right now. I don't know what's going on. Chiefs haven't covered since November the 1st.
I know. Whole second half of the season. No,
what is going on?
I don't know. That's why I'm saying that's why we're like, oh, you want to wait for it to get to +4, whatever. I don't know. I'll take it +9. I mean, if the Chiefs win by more than 8, I will be absolutely shocked. But sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I just think that's the key to me. Like that's going to be the biggest difference is I want to see it all comes down to Josh Allen. If Josh Allen plays well, they're going to win this game. Yeah. I really think it's possible. If he doesn't play up to snuff, Patrick Mahomes, if they give Patrick Mahomes any daylight, I mean, if they give them the football back up 4 with 45 seconds to go, they're going to lose. Like they cannot give the Chiefs any daylight to win the game. And if they do, they're going to lose. But I think they might be able to keep the door closed.
Okay, so I think so here's the thing. If the spread does go past 3, okay, you're expecting that it will if Mahomes gets in. I really thought it would stick at 3. But if it does go up, I'd probably bite the bullet and take the Bills because I think they have a chance to win outright and because I think that the Chiefs they don't blow anybody out anymore. Like that's just not what they do. They don't cover anymore. So
Right.
I would rather take that at 3. I'm just staying away from it, man, because I think the value is on the Bills at 3, even at 3. But I don't want to. I can't bring myself to do it to see what Patrick Mahomes is able to do in that game. For the total, you like the under. I really don't like it. I think the only way I'm touching the total is if it's in game and the Bills get out to a lead. If the Bills get out, like they score 14 points or something like that, then I think it's going to turn into a shootout. Then I think it's going to be like, well, because Mahomes is able to put up, if he needs to, they'll score a touchdown in 90
fast.
seconds, right?
Right.
Any time. And if they're down by a little bit, then I think the total is going to explode and we'll see where it goes. But yeah, other than that, I don't know, man. Both these games, I mean, the lines are sharp, but it scares me, man. Ugh, it's really just, yeah. All right. Well, let's get to our official picks, Matt. Because we do it. So you gotta take a spread. You gotta take a side. I know you may not actually bet it, but you have to take one side right now. What is it?
Packers -3.
Okay, I'm gonna do the same
because the Bills aren't. Once the Bills go to 4.5, I would prefer the Bills.
Yep.
But right now, Bills at 3, no. Even 3.5, no.
We are in the exact same situation then. Although, hold on, let me check what I said here just to make sure. It is 3. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. Right now, my favorite one would be the Packers -3. But if the Bills do go past the field goal, I will take the Bills. That will be my favorite play. And your total that you like the most is the Chiefs Bills under, right?
53.5. Yep.
All right. Chiefs Bills under 53.5. I'm gonna go just to differentiate it. And again, I look, I'll be as honest as possible because somebody asked this on Twitter, like, do you bet everything that you got, sort of talk about? And on this, most of the time I do. On this, I'm not. Like, I'm not,
Okay.
all that excited. I'm not gonna make.
I mean,
this
I
bet.
change. I bet every day. So
Sure.
I mean, information will. I mean, that was the thing
Of
about
course.
during the football season that we would tape on a Thursday, and then on Sunday there'd be COVID problems and quarterbacks being out and guys not there, and it was coaches leaving. It was like it was just constant chaos. So like our plays on Thursday were kind of like, all right, and we kind of joked around, like talked, on Sunday morning we'll tell you what our real plays are because we don't know on Thursday exactly what's going to happen. So it made it far more difficult to bet. On taping to have our plays be actually counting.
Right. And I agree, but I'm going to go the Bucs Packers over 51.5. I actually, again, both teams are relatively strong defensively. I just think that Aaron Rodgers is playing at a level right now where he's not really going to be able to be contained. And I think that the Bucs, I think the way the game plays out, if I have to choose one way, is that the Packers get ahead, they put up some points, and eventually Tom, leads them back, but they do fall short. And because of that, I think there are going to be points in this game. So I'll go over 51.5, but you said it correctly. That's the line. I mean, that's the right line for sure. So I don't love it, but if I have to go one way, that's what I'm doing. And it sounds like we have the same 2-team teaser, Matt. You're teasing that total down in the Packers.
Yeah, that'll be the official 2-team teaser for me.
Okay. And are you waiting to do it for the, because we can say that there's no way that the spread here, unless Patrick Mahomes is ruled out, which we basically are discounting at this point. There's no way.
If he's ruled out, the line's Buffalo -3.
Right. And so
so it's a monster difference.
No. But what I'm saying is you are not concerned about that enough to bet it right now at moving it from 3 to 9. You're going to wait to make that bet.
Yeah, I want 10.
Right. So what I'm saying is that you think the risk of Mahomes being out is so minimal that you're going to wait on this bet to make this 2-team teaser, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, for me,
I got a better chance of growing 2 feet tomorrow night than Mahomes not playing.
Okay.
Like
well,
it's not happening.
Look, I don't know you that well. Maybe that's a possibility. It would be weird, but yeah, I agree that he's playing. I will gladly bet it again. And the total actually for me when I had it was 51 on the Bucs Packers game. It's now 51.5 for me pulling it down. So it's moving a little bit. I'm fine to take it right now at +3 because, again, I think that that's a safe number. I think making that +9 for the Bills is totally safe. If Matt's right, and again, I have been assuming this entire time that they put it at +3 and that they were expecting basically like the only way it was going to move, most likely, was in Buffalo's favor, coming to this or whatever. I think that they're going to leave it at +3. Like that's what I think they made that line assuming Mahomes would play and that they assumed the money, but I will trust your judgment, of course, because you know a lot more about that side of it than I will. And so I'm willing to go with it at +3. If it goes to +4, I'll bet it again and get it to 10 without question. But that's where we are. So yeah, I mean, it sounds.
And then the bonus is if you want to do a 2-team money line parlay, you can get plus money on Packers Chiefs.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Again,
good.
at DraftKings 146, you said a FanDuel 151. That's not a bad way to go. And again, on that leg of it, I feel more confident that the Packers are going to beat the Bucs than I do the Chiefs are going to beat the Bills.
I agree.
I don't know.
And you can flip it around if you want to change it up. If you think the Bills are going to win the game outright, you can get even better money on that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That
I'll
should
actually
be like plus 200.
Right
Bills, a Bills money line parlay with the Packers. And I think that is a real good shot that's what you're going to wind up with.
Plus 277, Matt.
Dang, see, I mean nearly 3-1.
Yeah, that's not a bad one actually to consider doing. All right,
I just think the Bills find a way to blow it.
It's
late.
I
just find a way to give Mahomes.
Given the Bills' history, yes.
Yep. I'm just giving you. I think it's Mahomes magic at home. I just think there's something there where the Bills are going to do something stupid. They're going to punt on a 4th down they shouldn't punt on. They're going to give that little crack to Patrick Mahomes, and then he'll blow that thing and he'll win the game. Like I don't trust him to cover, but.
Really what it comes down to is exactly that, which is why I can't make the bet, which is you have to give Patrick Mahomes 0 options, 0 chances to win that game or to whatever you want to do. You have to give him 0 because if you give him a sliver, gimpy or not, he's going to make it happen, which is why I just can't bring myself.
I mean, just win the game, right? I mean, it can be like they can be down 26-20.
Yeah.
And you give the football back to them and a minute 10 to go and 1 timeout. And Mahomes goes 80 yards and scores a game-winning touchdown. You lose 27-26.
Yeah.
Like that's just, really. I can easily see that happening. So you cover your Bills teaser and you cover your Bills plus 3.5 or plus 4.
Yeah.
But you get your Patrick Mahomes money line parlay.
Yeah.
To hit.
Yeah. All right. Well, obviously Matt will give his official sort of Daily Juice plays on the Daily Juice podcast, and we will certainly have props. I've got a couple of ideas already, Matt, on props. I'm starting to look at it because some of them are out. I know they don't come out for you right until day of. I know that's
like,
too bad.
Basically, I'll get them Saturday night.
Yeah, you had to live in Vegas, Matt. Poor guy. But yes, I'll get them a little early, so I'll try to get them to you. And again, Matt will be doing a live stream this weekend on Sunday, 11 o'clock usual time, Matt? 11 o'clock?
11 a.m. Eastern on our YouTube channel.
Wonderful. YouTube.com/BettingPros. Go ahead there. We'll have our props. And then again, we'll be doing something big for the Super Bowl. I will let you guys know what that is. And again, join our Discord, bettingpros.com/chat. We're in there all the time. And we'll be doing that during the Super Bowl. Until then, enjoy this weekend's games. It's going to be fun. And we will talk to you not next week, but the week after talking about the Super Bowl.